Hey, Katrina here from Scrappy Horses. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm so happy you're here. I am working on a groovy Halloween card for a special little ghoul I know. And it is a very simple put together because almost all of our work is done in Cricut Design Space. We print and cut, and then we're going to head on over to the craft table. So let's get started here in Cricut Design Space. Here's our finished card, and you can see the orange card base. And over here in Cricut Design Space, I have that represented as this orange rectangle. Then I have one layer that is print and cut, right here. And then our little added digi, and here it is in Cricut Design Space. This piece is the inside layer where we can sign this. So we know that this is the card base. I cut my card bases at a paper slicer. I cut them at 5.5 by 8.5 and then fold them. I seldom cut them in Cricut Design Space because it just wastes paper. So I'm going to move this off to the side for a moment, and let's come to this layer. As you can see, my ghost is not printed on this. This is a separate little digi that I'm going to add. The groovy sentiment here on the front is from Wispy Willow Designs. Our little ghost is from Sister Goods. I used the fonts Dokdo, which is this font, and Confetti and Sprinkles, which is the Halloween font. I thought that was really fun for Halloween. This piece was going to be 4.25 by 5.5. I know I want my layer here to be 4 by 5.25. So I'm simply going to duplicate this by right-clicking, duplicate, come up, change the color, white, come across, change my size. So I unlock. I'm going to change it to 4. So I'll just type a 0. And then I'll just add a 2 here in front of the 5 and click. And now I have the size of my card I'm going to use. So the first thing I did is I knew I wanted this to be sort of 70s. And so I came over to my images. I typed in groovy. Typing it at my keyboard, hitting my return. And up came the groovy that I liked. Here it is right here. I left click, bring it in. I know it's going to have to be a lot smaller than that. So I'm going to come up here to size and type in 4. Hit return. I'm going to bring it down. I can see that that's still pretty big. So I'm going to go ahead and just sort of size it here. Now, I know that I want it on there 4 times. So I'm going to duplicate, duplicate, duplicate. I'm right-clicking, left-clicking until I have 5 of them. Now, you're probably thinking, why do you have 5? Well, I'll show you. I have 5 because I wanted to group them and have them somewhat spaced correctly. So I'm going to space this one here. I'm going to select my paper and the center one. I'm going to come up to a line and I'm just going to put center. There's my center. Now I can start pulling over and lining up. So I know that if I want to center all of these horizontally, I can select the entire thing, select them all, align horizontally, and now they are all lined up. I know that this middle one is lined up centered. Remember, because we went in and said align center. So now I can sort of eyeball where these others will go. Again, I can come back And if I feel like I moved something out of place, I can come back to center horizontally. There we go. And I feel like that's pretty good. Now this one's coming out. And this is where I'm going to come over to text. And I'm going to type in Halloween. I come up to font. And I'm going to find the font I want. And I used Confetti for this one. So I'm going to type that in. So I've clicked here in my search, Confetti. And there it is, Confetti and Sprinkles. Or maybe that's Confetti plus Sprinkles. I can bring that up now. Make it just a smidge bigger maybe. Let's come in and let's align center. Now again, if we want to, we can move this down just a little bit. It looks like maybe it could move down. I'm going to use the arrows on my keyboard here. I'm going to select them all, and I'm going to come over here to the right side and flatten. I do this by left clicking. There's my first piece, my top piece, done. Let's do this piece. So now I'm going to bring in another square. So let's come over to shapes. Pull a square. Let's make this about, I'm going to unlock this. Let's make it about 375 by 5. It's 499, but that's good enough. That's close enough for me. Let's turn it white. So we'll come up here by the operation here to the black square and choose white. Let's offset that. But we're really going to inset. So let's inset about right, about right there. So about 0.5. Let's do that, about 0.5. Apply. Let's turn that one white. All right, let's change this bottom one to this pink color. So we'll come back to the white, change it to pink. Let's come back now to our center white and select that. Let's offset that one. All right, so we're going to offset, which means we're going to come this way. Let's just go a little bit here. Let's go about 0.083, apply, and let's change that to this yellow. So again, we're coming up to the color. Let's choose our yellow, or maybe that orange is better. That'll show up a little better. And let's go ahead. So nothing moves. Let's go ahead and flatten that much. Now we had this, right? I want to go ahead. I want to duplicate that. Let's go ahead and make this smaller. Let's bring it to the front. Scooch it over here. A little smaller here. See how we have this up here like that? Let's go ahead and flatten that in. Now, these flowers, all I did to get these flowers is I actually stole them from this Groovy. If you come over here to the right-hand panel, you'll see here that we have a little triangle here. I'm going to click that. And I know that I don't need this, or this, or this, or this, or this. That leaves me with just the flowers now. But the thing is these flowers are going to move together. All right? I can't change the colors. I can't do anything really because they're grouped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to shapes, pull in a square. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ungroup this layer. So I click here, ungroup. That takes everything and makes it an individual piece. I'm going to take this black square. I'm going to come over and pick up this over here in our right-hand column. This is part of these flowers. I'm going to hold my shift key, left click, and I'm going to slice. I'm going to bring that black away. I'm going to bring this back again. This time, I'm going to choose these itty bitty little white, or these itty bitty little pieces are actually orange. I'm going to select that along with my black square. I'm going to hit slice. That sliced this away so that now I can take this, I can group that, I can take these little guys and group them back together, okay? I can get rid of all of this by selecting it and hitting delete on my keyboard. Now I'm going to twist these around, make them a little bit larger. I'm going to change the color. Come back over here to the right, change the color of these oranges to a really, really pale, pale yellow. And I'm going to change these to a very pale orange. Now I can bring these down and just sort of set them in right here. And I can play with this and move them around and do what I want. Then I'm going to bring this one over, and it is grouped. I'm going to make it larger. You know what, let's do something a little different. Let's make this really big. Let's move it over so it's like over here on the paper. That would be kind of fun. And let's do this. Let's bring it up like this. Let's pick this, come over. Let's make it this dark pink, just for fun, just for fun. All right, now that means we're not going to be able to really write on this over that dark color, but that's okay. I'm going to hit my shift key and choose them both. Let's group them back together. Let's move it off like this. And let's sweep over the entire thing and again flatten. There we go. Now we have this piece and it's ready. Obviously, if you didn't want this like this, you could have made it smaller. Just set it in here, change the color to lighter colors, and then you could write right over it. All right, here comes our text. Get a text box, bring it over, double click till it's blue, Y-O-U-R-E-V G-R-O-V-V-I-E-S-T G-H-O-U-L-I-K-N-O-W. And I would like this to be the Dokdo. So again, I'm coming up to font. I'm going to type in Dokdo, D-O-K-D-O. There it is. I just left click. I'm just going to bring this up. And I'd like this a little closer together. So I'm going to come up here to line space, and I'm going to hit the down arrow until I like where it is. I'd like this centered, align, centered horizontally, but I want to leave space down here to write a note. So I'm going to center horizontally. I can use my arrow keys on my keyboard and move it down a smidge if I like. Sweep over the entire thing and again flatten. Now I have the inside of my card. I made this one just a little bit bigger than I made the other one. If that's too big for your liking, you can always follow these dimensions, which was 3.5 by 4.75 rather than 375 by 5. All right, our ghost. Let's come back and get our ghost. So I knew I wanted some flowers with my ghost. So let's go back to images. Let's type in ghost with flower. And there she is. So let's pull her in. We make her a bit smaller. I want her to face the other way, so she's facing in towards the card. So I simply select her, come to flip. Let's flip her horizontally. Let's right click. Let's duplicate by left clicking. Let's take that we have selected here. Let's come to contour. Let's hide them all. It's going to hide them all except the outline. click. This is still selected, so let's go hit white, left click, white. Let's move our little friend up to the front. Select the two, align, left click center, and flatten. And now you have a digi that you can set right on top of your card. So there we are. As you can see, our sample turned out just a little differently than what we put together in the demo here, but it gives you a couple of different ideas. All right, any comments or questions? Leave them for me below and I'll get back with you. Let's head over to the craft table. Let's put this together with a couple of gems and we'll be done. Here we are at the craft table. Here is our print and cut piece, our card base cut with a paper slicer, our ghost, and a back piece for that. I decided I wanted a back piece. You're the grooviest ghoul, and you see the sentiment is typed correctly there. The fabric tack and my ATG, along with some close to my heart dots there. I have a little bit of cereal board I'm going to use to pop my ghost off the card, and a pair of scissors to cut that. I have made this very fast right through here because you don't need to see me tape this onto the front of the card. I'm also going to tape in my layering piece here using my ATG. And I will go ahead and adhere that onto the card. I'm just going to put a couple of strips there at the top and bottom. Going to bring our little ghost in. Now, I had a little issue with my ghost. He got a little smooch on him, but I taped him onto the card. So I'm going to show you here in a minute how I fixed that. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put a layering piece of cardstock that's a little bit heavier underneath that ghost. And then I'm going to come in and cut some cereal board here from the cereal box and just glue that onto the back of that piece. I'm going to set that aside to dry while I go ahead and pick some close to my heart dots and put those in. They're really not dots, they're hearts and stars, and there are some dots in some really pretty fall-like colors that I thought would go really well on this card. And I'm just going to situate those around in a triangle. Okay, so now let's come back to that ghost. All right, I'm going to put him on the card, and you really can't see it very well in the video, but there's a smudge on him. There's a smudge. So I'm coloring up another one, and this time I'm going with yellow and orange to actually match the flowers that are on the card a little bit better. And again, I'm just going to use a little fabric tack to put that ghost on there. So there's a quick way to fix something. If you've got a card totally finished and you had a very easy to color digi, it's simple. You just kind of reprint, recolor, and just place them right over the one that has the problem. Okay, that takes care of my video today, complete with typos in the inside sentiment, but as you can see, that got fixed before I actually made the card. So anyway, any comments or questions, leave them below, and I will get back with you in the next video. Bye.